I'm Dana Sikala. I'm a printmaking installation artist. Right now, I'm an artist in residency at the Hinge Arts Residency Program put on by Springboard for the Arts, here located in Fergus Falls. My installations are always based off of one individual image, and so with the amazing thing with printmaking is you're creating a matrix that can be duplicated hundreds and thousands of times and not get worn down, and versus drawing or painting where it's a one-time kind of thing. And so that's what gravitates me to printmaking. It's really fast-paced and the process is really interesting. So what I do is I'll take one singular image that already conveys some sort of movement. So with this project here, I'm concentrating on the image of a bird, and I'm screen printing it. Probably with this project, there'll be about somewhere between around 1,500 individual images that will be constructed throughout the whole installation. And so I screen print them all, and then I hand paint on top of all of them, and then I'll sit down and I cut them all out by hand. And so the process is like extremely repetitive, as well as the content of the use of the image is really repetitive, because it's showing how just one image itself can create something on a larger form if it's just repeated in a different manner. Even though it's the same image repeating, they're all individually different with the way that they're cut out and the way that they're painted and the way they're printed, because there's that use of the human hand. And with printmaking, there's a lot of like higher technology now, and a lot of people are like, well, why don't you just like digitally print your work, or instead of cutting them all out by hand, like getting a die cut, like something to assist you. But I think with printmaking, it has such a rich history to the process. I want to try and stay as true as that and have my hand in every single thing that gets done. I always have a really bad habit of thinking bigger is better. And I think a lot of artists have that feeling as well. But I really enjoy the process of like critical thinking and problem solving, which you have to do with installation art. You're a little bit at the mercy of the location themselves and what you're capable of doing. I'm still wanting to continue to be an installation artist, but push the three-dimensional aspect of the work, because a lot of times, sometimes my work has to be more, even though it's not flat against the wall, it's not as protruding out into the space to where the viewer is like a part of it. And so because I have this really giant room to work in, and I'm really lucky for that, I'm trying to create more of a structure to where it'll come out to the space to where the viewer is part of it, like they can be inside of it, and it's basically creating a space within a space. Installation should always activate the space or involve the viewer in some way. With the installation, I get a chance to kind of get into space and act more intuitively. Like, of course, I have plans of how my work is gonna look, but a lot of times when I actually have to travel to get to my location where I'm putting my work up, I have to sit there for just a couple hours and like in my head map out like, how am I gonna construct this to the wall? How is this gonna look in this corner? Well, this is Murphy. He's almost 9 years old, and I've had him for about 8 years. I got him from a rescue in Kansas City. And for years, it had always been Murphy and myself. And with my work in my undergrad, I was having a lot of struggles with creating my use of content and what my work was going to be based on. And my professor, Eric Watercutty, he was like, well, Dana, you just need to start by making work of things you really like. And the one thing that I really liked at that time, well, still do obviously, was Murphy. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna start making prints of my dog and just see where that goes. And then one day I had made this print of Murphy and I hated the whole entire thing. I hated the work completely, but the only thing that I really liked about the work itself was Murphy's face. And so I had about 20 of these prints and I ended up cutting out his head from all of them. And then I started constructing these 20 heads together and kind of layering them. And then I was like, well, what if I put these all like on the wall and they kind of start to transform into something else besides a dog head? And so that was my first ever installation ever, was an image of Murphy. I just started using him in all my prints, and now he's kind of my trademark. And even in my headshots, it's always like pictures of Murphy and myself. So he's played a huge role, and especially like when you're young and you're going through transitions in your life, and having that bond with something else is always really important. But he comes to the openings and everyone is, he's kind of like a name in Mankato now. Even like the city of Mankato sent me an email the other day, and it was addressed to Dana Sikla and Murphy. So now we're kind of forming as just like one person, which I think is actually pretty hilarious. So I'm using it to my benefit as an artist. I think art as a whole completely defines my life right now. Especially in Minnesota, a lot of people think Minnesota and you're an artist, everyone thinks you gotta live in like a big city or you gotta live in New York or Los Angeles, but there's so many positive things going on in Minnesota right now for the arts, because I qualify or identify myself as an artist, but I'm also an art teacher. I teach at the university as well as the gallery that I run. I'm executive director of the 410 Project Art Gallery in Mankato, and I'm also on the board of directors of Prairie Lakes Regional Arts Council. And so we deal a lot with like grant funding for organizations and artists. So basically every single thing that I do, either with arts or arts administration or my job, revolves around the arts. One thing I want people to get out of my work is that art and installation art can be something that can be really impactful, and that I think as an artist we always need to consider the way people are going to view our work. And I think that's the one thing that really draws me to installation art is it has that factor of the viewer being involved in it.
This program on Pioneer Public Television is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008. Additional support provided by Mark and Margaret Yakel-Julien in honor of Shalom Hill Farm, a nonprofit rural education retreat center in a beautiful prairie setting near Windham in southwestern Minnesota. ShalomHillFarm.org. The Arrowwood Resort and Conference Center, your ideal choice for Minnesota resorts, offering luxury townhomes, 18 holes of golf, Darling Reflections Spa, Big Splash Water Park, and much more. Alexandria, Minnesota. Explore hundreds of lakes, trails, and attractions for a great vacation or a place to hold an event. ExploreAlex.com. Tri-State Brain and Spine Institute, with locations in Alexandria, Edina, Crookston, and Maple Grove. Doctors dedicated to evaluating and treating all types of brain and spine problems, no matter how complex.